Hey y'all, I'm back. I've been gone for a long time and I'm here to talk about my social media fast and how it impacted my life. Get in here, get in here. Um, Welcome everybody. Man, it's been a long time. But let me tell you something. When you've been gone for social media that long, you don't even be trying to come back. Like this was a lot just to even do this. Excuse my hair, it's like a fresh, tight curl, and so it just stays tightly curled. Okay. I swear there's more hair. It's just curled real tight. Anyway, um, why I took a social media fast and how it deepened my faith. Let me get right to it. I'm making this video because it is always to help someone else who might be going through the same thing. Okay, oftentimes that we are flirting with our spiritual development and the life societal expectations, and so I was kind of wrestling with that. And so, earlier in the year, every year I do the Daniel fast, but I felt like I needed to go I needed to do something much deeper. And so that for me was doing a social media fast. And so for me, it was because social media was negatively impacting my mental health. Okay. I just want y'all to know I do have notes because I want to make sure I'm concise because I got to get off of here really quick. But it was just affecting me mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, right? With me trying to grow a business right now via digital marketing, me also, my health. I have endometriosis, or chronic debilitating illness. If you guys been here, I was evicted. I had to move. I moved across the country. It's just been a lot. And so as I'm trying to like reckon with all of that, I was like, nope, I need to like gain my center, right? Or return to myself, however you want to use it. There's so many words that you can use. And so I needed some more intentional time with God. I had always been talking about like wanting to spend more time with God, just increase like deepen my faith, right? And so I was saying that, and yeah, I was doing really good things, but I just felt the need to go deeper. And so for me, as I was doing the Daniel fast, and that was going great because I had been doing that for over 10 years, so I feel like a master at it. At around week 2, I felt like I needed to do a social media fast and I deleted Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. Unfortunately, I can't get TikTok back because I deleted it while the country was in shambles on January 19th. So I don't have that, but that's all good. It's God's way of saying like there's something else, and that's fine. And so but the purpose of me doing this fast is because I just needed more clarity. Look, for me, it was like I wanted to gain more clarity. I wanted to get direction. And I wanted to like just increase my self worth and self value. When you have a debilitating pain, debilitating illness that takes you out the game, like you feel life is different. You can barely, I'm barely just clinging for life. And so I just needed to do that. And so around, before I got off of social media, I was talking about the book of Job. As you guys know, I would read Our Daily Bread, and I was posting that for you guys. And so one day it was talking about the book of Job, and it just really spoke to me. So that made me wanted to do more, a deeper dive into Job. Let me just tell you something. God loved Job down, okay? And Job loved God down but in but he went through suffering, and that was really a test of his character. And so even though he prevailed, he learned a lot of things. And so it just kind of like mirrored my journey. Uh it well mirrored my journey, my emotions, all the things I have been going through. I also was had a friend who have a friend who was just randomly reached out to me and was like, how are you doing? And so I was telling her about the fast, and she's like one of my spiritual sisters. And so she was like, hey, I think you should really get this devotional. Keep in mind, I was doing Our Daily Bread, but she was like, this one is better because it talks about like really getting a stillness with God, like just more intimacy. And so because that was like smack dab in terms of what I wanted to achieve, I said, let me go ahead and do it. And so she actually gifted me the book. It's called Emotionally Healthy Spiritually Day by Day. And let me tell you, like the book is lit, like from the intro page. I'm already on week 5. That's like how intentional I am being with now what I call is like my time with God. And so um it has really just been transformational in that way. And so the book is really good about shifting from suffering to recognizing God's love and his favor on our lives. And so I needed to just do that because I just couldn't see like in front of me. Okay. And so I just want to so let's just be clear, right? I did the social media. while I was doing the Daniel fast, I did the social media fast. I deleted all of my main social media addictions, and then I also um, started with this new devotional. Okay. I also, in this time, started to do some other practices. But let me just say that before I get to that and the breakthrough lessons that I was having, is that I'm going to say that, we say that we're living for, or we're Christian and like we have a relationship with God, but I would argue that we don't. Right. If you're spending so much time on social media and if that takes up a large part of your day, then I have to let you know that you are not really incongruent with what God really wants for your life, because truly a lot of what we see on the internet goes against what God says if you actually start opening up the Bible and getting more intimate with it. Okay. And so I see it all day. I see it, like, now that I'm kind of itching back on social media. I see it, I see it, I see it. And so that goes along with societal expectations, and just sort of like living for other people and not really living for on your life on your own terms, or like I have to call it, or I like to call it, like who God has called you to be. And so, for me, it's again, the question is like, are we giving as much attention to God as we are doing social media? The answer is no. And if the answer is no, then there's things that you need to be doing. Um, and so for one thing, I needed to like reflect on God's promises all my life. Like I needed to like go through and look at Bible verses and say, this is what God says. These are his promises. And so I needed to just kind of like meditate on that. And so I kind of took account of that and like put that in my notes so that I have that. But truly, when you're spending time with God daily, like those promises are right there. You're seeing them throughout, like as you are reading the devotionals and deepening your relationship. Um, I also realized that through this journey that my coaching has always had a faith-based foundation to it, and that I'd be lying if I didn't say that like my whole life has been faith-based, but definitely my decision to move to LA was all faith-based, right? I tell this story and I'll tell it again one time just to put it on, put it in content, but that like my whole catalyst for moving to LA was because I heard God tell me to do it. And there was four things that happened that really said like, hey, go do this. And truly I like start moving in that way. And so when you start hearing from God, it's like you want to move on whatever he's saying, or sit still, whatever God is saying, you want to do it and trust it. And so I always tell a story like how I moved here with $3,500. I didn't have any job or anything, any prospects. I just believed in myself and believed what God uh, like had purposed me for. And so again, being in LA for 10 years, I knew that what I wanted, what I originally set out on, was to work with a more higher profile client. And I can say that today I'm doing that, and I mostly get called for that kind of client. And so that's just kind of awesome in itself. But I cannot lie and say that it did not stem from a faith-based foundation. And even though I wasn't fully owning it publicly. And so um I also had to like really understand that like in my coaching journey, there have been women that I worked with, but particularly one who I've worked with for about 18 months, that she credits her deep transformation, said that the biggest impact that she had, that the coaching had on her, was helping her develop a relationship with. And so to me, like that was like the best, I coming out of coaching. But again, like as I was receiving that, I wasn't thinking like my work was wrapped around that. So again, like the breakthrough in that was that like, Toya, the work that you do is pretty faith based, because if when you work with me, like we're talking about that. And I don't want to say that it's for women who are um already on a spiritual journey. My coaching can be for people who want to be on a spiritual journey, but I will tell you that when we are coaching, we are going into the spiritual journey. Not like all the time, but there are just certain spaces and places, like through journaling, and things like that, that we tap into it a little bit more. But anywho, that's some of the breakthrough and the lessons that uh, I had, as I was just thinking about, as I was navigating through it. I would say that it birthed a renewed vision in terms of how I like who I am really like targeting. And so for me, it is definitely women who are on a spiritual rediscovery, to live a more meaningful life, one that where God like live a life according to who God has called them to be. And so But for me, like I was all like in my time with God, like there was a lot of journaling, there was devotion, there was meditation, there's worshiping. It was just all those things. And so I would say that like I went from like spending like maybe 15 minutes with God daily to like now it's easily an hour a day. And I can go longer than that. I think the longest I've gone in one sitting is like 2 hours. But then I also supplement that with like other types of resources, whether it be like sermons, you like listening to different YouTube creators who are on spiritual journey, as well, or speak from a spiritual insight perspective. And so it's just really been great, because it really, like, look, the flesh is weak, y'all, in all areas of our life, and of course there are the more bigger areas, like, if you're like having sex or whatever, like, let's just be real, and you say like, hey, I want to change because I want to get like a more meaningful relationship. Like, you have to know that it just in all areas the flesh is weak, and so you have to be armed with like what God's promises are for your life, and then also be reassured that like He loves you throughout like your challenging times, or what God likes to refer to as your times of suffering. And that's when it goes back to the book of Job. Like, suffering isn't bad, it is building you and refining you. And that is what I really realized was happening with me. And so in this challenging time that I'm in right now, I'm embracing it, as opposed to like feeling like, what do I lack? Because the real issue is that we think that, especially for Black women, like, all that I've achieved, why is all that I've done in life, this is why you have achievements. But truly, that's not the energy. Conversely, it's like, just because you're suffering doesn't mean you're a bad person or you did something bad. Like, that's not how God works. Truly, everything we get is a gift. And that's what I had to realize, because you got to understand the life I was living, and y'all been here. I'm talking about traveling, I'm working with high profile clients, like I'm living in LA, like I'm doing all the things. And so now I'm in this state, right? In this time, of evolution, of transformation. It's like, why me? Why me? But the reality is that God loves me so much, right? That He is building me and refining me for the next stage of my life, and that I don't have to worry about anything. Now, let's be honest. Is that easy? Absolutely not. Not for a girl like me. So that's why it's so important that I stay deep into my relationship with God, because I have to unlearn so many toxic patterns, so many negative patterns that served me back in the day, but don't need to serve me now for where I'm going. And so certainly, I know that a big part of that is self-abandonment, especially for women like me, women that I work with. It's all about pleasing someone else. And you actually pleasing yourself last, but really it should be about pleasing God first, right? And not even trying to please other people, right? They need to be working on their own relationship with God and how they show up in the world. And so it just really has to be a shift in how you do life. And so for me, I was like half doing it, right? One foot in, one foot out. Even though it looked good, right? On the inside, it wasn't good, because I could tell in the way that I was feeling. And so I had to adjust that. And so now, I don't really feel pressure to chase social media growth. I know that like social media is important in terms of building content, but for me, I had to go back to like what really honors me, and just also like not feel like I need to rush or compare myself to anyone. And that has really led me to like, I unfollowed everybody on Instagram. Like, I'm not interested in seeing like everybody selling something, everybody talking at me, telling me I'm not good enough. Like, that is not what my God says about me. And I'm on my own pace, my own race, right? And so that is what I am just focusing on. And so yeah, I do have a strategy. Of course, I need like a coach, because what I need help in is in digital marketing and sort of social media. But I'm gonna keep showing up until I can do that for myself. But I just know that I'm not trying to compete against anyone out here, right? I'm uniquely made. I have something to offer. I bring a lot of experience, formal and a life experience, to what it is that I'm teaching. And I know that bringing those two, but also bringing God with me, I'm going to be okay. Not going to worry about it. Again, that's a new mindset. And so I'm really appreciative of that. And so I feel more aligned, more grounded, and ready to serve the women who are seeking a faith-based transformation, right? Women who are on a spiritual rediscovery to really live like a meaningful life, one that God, a life where God has who God has called them to be, right? And so what's next? I'm going to continue to finish my do my spiritual practices. I'm not stopping that. Like I haven't stopped since I finished my fast, and I plan on keeping that going. Also expect to see me less on social media, but be intentional in how I connect with my audience. So I'm going to do that through YouTube, creating long form content. Also, I've been doing my newsletter. I'm almost at 30 weeks. You need to get in there. That's where I really talk about my life and personal updates, and then let you know what's happening. And then also just letting you know that I am creating a private community of women to where we can get together monthly and just talk about what we're going through, like how our spiritual journey is. And just, it's not a coaching call. It's really just for us to kind of like have a place of support and to offer resources to each other as we all are on our varying different journeys. So really excited about that. That is coming up at the end of the month. So all you need to do is click the link in the bio, click the link below so that you can like sign up for the newsletter, and so you will get that information for yourself. And so for what else is this? Okay, so yeah, this is really for women on a faith-based journey, a faith and personal growth journey. Okay, so again, I just wanted to let you guys know that it was just really great for me, and it could be great for you as well too. But you can't really be like one foot in and one foot out on the life that you really say that you want, and you got to be ready to do the what I call the required work to get what it is that you want. Your hair curls are on point. Thank you. I was just it's like it's a tight curl. I'm trying to let the curls fall, but thank you so much. But yeah, so yeah, so that's that. Like, subscribe to the newsletter because I like long form content, and so I've been showing up for 30 weeks, and I continue to do that. And again, I will be posting about the private monthly get together for women only, and so get in there. That is complimentary right now. There is no fee. I just want us to get together and talk. So other than that, I just thank you so much for being here to listen to me right now so that you can hear how my social media fast went and why you won't be seeing me back on it as like I used to. Like when I tell you I got timers set. I'm not even trying to be on this thing. Like if I'm on there more than an hour, it's like you're done. Like I don't need to be on there. But I would just want to encourage you to prioritize your faith and your inner peace and stop really like and really take an account of like, are you doing things because you're trying to compete with other people? Are you living for society, for family expectations? And like, if that's something, if you desire to move away from that, then like stay here because that's the journey that I've been on, continue to be on. It's always going to be a journey. Um, Anyway, God is always with us. You already know that. He's not going anywhere. It's just if you choose to listen. So I always end with you must decide, right? Nobody can do that but you. Nobody can make that choice for you. You are not a child, right? And so you have to decide like if this is the life that I want, what am I willing to do to get it? And so that was just a little bit of what I did for the past month. And again, if you are interested in going on your own, spiritual journey of like deep transformation, then stay here. Anyway, I appreciate you guys. I finished this right in time, and I gotta go to do the next task. I will see you in these social media streets, but really, I'll see you in these private streets. Sign up for the newsletter. Click the link in the bio. You guys have a really great evening.